This is a narrated version of Chapter 25, Criminal Profiling on Trial. Given the U.S. Supreme Court trilogy regarding expert testimony since the early 1990s, which forces federal judges to act as gatekeepers by identifying and excluding unreliable expert testimony, attention is directed at whether courts are accurately distinguishing between reliable and unreliable experts profiling testimony. Courts that have admitted profiling testimony have typically done so only after performing superficial reliability and validity assessments. Unsub-profiling. Historically, law enforcement viewed profiling as an investigative filtering technique aimed at deducing personality characteristics of an unknown offender, also called unsub-profiling. Unsub-profiling can be a valuable investigative tool. It has little impact, however, in the courtroom because of its prejudicial effects against defendants. Unsub-profiling. Cognizant that unsub-profiling would be excluded, profilers were forced to reorient their focus so they could use their mind-hunting skills in court. It was with this objective in mind that the profiling community created motivational analysis and link analysis. Rather than narrowing the suspect pool, motivation and linkage analysis identified two characteristics routinely relied on during criminal trials. Number one, motive, and number two, identity. However, profilers have routinely crossed the line with such testimony, resulting in unfavorable court rulings. Motivational analysis is concerned with detecting an offender's likely motive by evaluating the crime scene characteristics and physical evidence. Linkage analysis is concerned with evaluating whether two or more offenses are related, often when at least one offense can be associated with a particular individual. Admissibility standards. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, experts could testify if qualified, and their testimony was beyond the average juror's range of knowledge. With Frye versus the United States in 1923, the Court of Appeals required expert testimony to be generally accepted in the scientific community. Daubert versus Merrell Dow Pharmaceuticals in 1993, the Supreme Court held that the expert testimony could be admitted if the district court deemed it both relevant and reliable. Trial judges were obligated to act as gatekeepers when screening expert testimony to make certain it was not only relevant but reliable. Kumho-Tyre versus Carmichael held that the Daubert standard applies not only to testimony based on scientific knowledge, but also to testimony based on technical and other specialized knowledge. Criminal profiling's empirical proof, relevance, and predictability. If evidence is neither relevant nor reliable, it should not be admissible in court. Ultimately, courts have dealt inconsistently with profiling testimony, whereas unsub-profiling has characteristically been excluded. The same cannot be said for motivational analysis and linkage analysis. This ends this narrated version of this chapter PowerPoint.